Let's talk about something pretty critical for U.S. accounting firms right now. You've got this massive talent crunch, and at the same time, intense pressure on your margins. But, some firms aren't just getting by. They're actually thriving, and they're doing it with one powerful strategy: outsourcing. So today, we're going to break down exactly how they're using this as a secret weapon for growth.
Just picture that for a second. That mountain of compliance work that usually buries you is just done. It's sitting there waiting for your high-level review. Sounds kind of like a fantasy, right? Well, for a growing number of firms, it's really not.
This is the new reality for firms that are willing to rethink how they operate. So how are they pulling it off? Well, it all comes down to making one key strategic choice.
So, what's the real advantage here? Why is this shift happening now? It really boils down to a handful of core benefits that are completely reshaping how these firms work.
Okay, let's start with a number that gets everybody's attention: a 30 to 60% cut in operational costs. I mean, that's not just a small tweak, that is a total game changer for any firm's bottom line.
But here's the thing, it's not just about the cost. Think about the talent crunch for a second. Instead of fighting over a really limited pool of local CPAs, you get instant access to a global talent base. And what about the ability to scale up for tax season without the headache of hiring temporary staff? That alone totally transforms your whole operational model.
This right here, this is where time zones become your superpower. You're not working longer hours, your workday is. You hand off a bunch of tasks at 6 p.m. your time, and the finished work is sitting in your inbox when you log on at 9 a.m. It's like having a whole second shift that you don't even have to manage. Okay, so the why is crystal clear. But let's talk about the what. What specific tasks are we actually talking about moving off your team's plate so they can focus on other things?
This is the core idea. It's not about replacing your in-house team. It's all about extending it. You're basically adding a powerful back-end engine to handle all the grunt work. And that frees up your experts to focus on what they do best: client strategy and high-value advisory services.
So in the real world, this covers pretty much the whole spectrum of compliance work. Just think about all those high-volume, process-heavy tasks. From tax prep and bookkeeping to payroll and financial reporting, these are the essential engine room functions that, when you outsource them, create the capacity your firm needs to actually grow.
Now, this all sounds great in theory, but let's be real. There are risks with anything like this. The key isn't to pretend they don't exist, but to understand how a top-tier partner has already figured out how to solve them.
This chart lays out the most common fears perfectly. Worried about communication breakdowns? A dedicated manager becomes your single point of contact. What about quality control? Multi-level reviews are just built into the process. And the biggest one, data security? We're talking encrypted systems, strict NDAs, secure portals. The industry has evolved to a point where these are basically non-issues with the right partner.
So, the benefits are clear. The risks are totally manageable. But where do you even start? The idea of integrating a whole new team can feel, well, a little daunting. But the actual process is way simpler than you probably think.
The best approach is super simple and really low risk. It all starts with a consultation, just a conversation. Then you run a small pilot project, maybe just a few tax returns. This lets you test the entire process and see the quality for yourself with basically zero major commitment. You only scale up once you're 100% happy with the results.
All right, so even with a simple process, there are always a few key questions that come up. Let's just run through the top 3 concerns we hear from firm owners all the time.
This is always question number 1, and it should be. Your client's data is everything. So, is it actually safe?
The short answer is absolutely. The best partners use bank-level security protocols. We're talking secure portals, end-to-end encryption, really strict NDAs. You have to remember, their entire business model depends on protecting your data, so they take it incredibly seriously.
The next big concern is always about losing control. You're worried that the work quality might drop or that deadlines might get missed, and that's a totally valid fear.
But in reality, what usually happens is you gain more control through a better process. A good outsourcing relationship is a true partnership. You have a dedicated team lead, you have clear project timelines, and you have regular check-ins. You are always in the driver's seat.
And finally, the practical IT question. The last thing you want is a massive tech headache or to have to change all of your firm's existing workflows, right?
Of course, these teams are specialists. They are trained on the exact software you already use, whether it's QuickBooks, Xero, or UltraTax. They integrate into your tech stack. You don't have to change a thing for them.
So here's the bottom line. If you're only thinking about outsourcing as a way to cut costs, you're honestly missing the bigger picture. It's a strategy. It's a way to unlock capacity, speed up your delivery times, and let your best people focus on the high-value advisory work that actually grows your firm.
Which really just leaves one final question. As you see your competitors getting more efficient and more scalable by using this model, you have to ask yourself, in an industry that's changing this fast, is the biggest risk maybe doing nothing at all?